Bearded Carpenter here. I know it's been a little while since we've been able to get a video out. We've been really busy. We had family in for Christmas through the holidays, and I actually just took some time off from the Airbnb build. I really needed to get some firewood cut and brought in, and I was so thankful that I had help. Grandson just jumped in there and just made a real good hand helping me. And so I'm back out here on the cabin, the Airbnb, and hopefully I can stay with it till I get finished. As you can see behind me, I've been putting some boards on the wall. This is just tongue and groove, just square edge, nothing fancy. I just wanted to cover these walls up with wood. I know on the Paradise Point cabin I made the walls look like a log wall with the log faces, but I decided to do something different here. And so I had plenty lumber that I had sawed back last year, and I've air dried this, planed it, tongue and grooved it, and I've got just about all of it up. I've got the kitchen wall done, all except for this one right here. This will be the last one I'll have to do, and I've got the boards already cut for that. But I was glad to get this on. Quite a bit of work, but it sure was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm in the bathroom. I've got all of this on. There will be a vanity that goes across here, and the commode will sit right here. All the electrical's in. I've got the cover on the panel there. We've got a full tub and shower set up here, but up above here I'm going to put tile up there around because there's going to be water splashing up, so I've got to fix that to be able to put tile on it. I'm ready to start this wall now, and I have put a starter piece down here right against the floor. That's a 3/4 by an inch, and the reason I did that is because my bit, I was using bits from two different sets on my router to do the tongue and groove, and the tongue bit where I cut the tongue on the board was a 1/16 of an inch wider. It cuts a different size tongue than what the groove is, and so it made my boards, I usually have 5 1/4 inches coverage per board, but the way it worked out, it was 5 3/16, and it takes 16 boards to get up to the top plates, and so I added a full inch at the bottom to take up those 1/16 of an inch, so that when I get up here at the top, I won't have a skinny piece across there. Got my first one cut. I'm shooting it on with 2-inch finish nails in my gun. I'm not sure you can see it. I've got a chunk knocked out of this one, out of the tongue, and on the back side, just a little bit here at on this edge, outer edge at the top. But this is all going to be underneath cabinets, and well, actually right here there'll be a cook stove. So I'm using my worst boards down at the bottom because they'll be covered up to about the height of the cabinets. Then I'll put some pretty ones in here, and then there'll be some more cabinets up here where I can get rid of some of the lesser boards that aren't quite as pretty. I did my little wedge trick here. I had a little bit of a gap here on the bottom side of this board, and so what this is, just a piece of this tongue and groove, just a scrap, and I cut the tongue off of it. I've got the groove here. Just put a wedge in the block and just tap the wedge in, and that forced it down good and tight. And I'll leave that on, then I'll nail this off, then I can take this off. Well, I'll have to take it off so I can put the next board up. I've got this piece here which have 3 cutouts in it, 2 plugs and a light switch, and I'll show you what I did to be able to get this to come in at the bottom. I've got to be able to fit over the tongue on this board, and it's about the only way you can get them in there is to set it up there and tilt it in and let it come down on the tongue. Now I'll bring this a little bit closer. I beveled this back from the face side. I beveled it back on the back side of the board about the depth of what this a tongue is, so that I can just set it in there and then tilt it up, and it'll slide right in, and I'll have the slack in these areas here, right here, so that I can get it to go in. I don't have to do that on the top, the board that go over, because it'll just slide right straight down. But this one here, the underneath side, I've got to fix it so that I can get it to go up and slide down over the tongue. Okay, we'll see if this fits here. Yeah, it went in there nice and smooth. I think that's the last of the cutouts I'll have to do there. I think I've got everything else done. Alrighty, I'll nail that baby doll up. That's as far as I can go today. It's getting dark outside, and these 2 top pieces I'll have to rip at a long angle for the ceiling, and by the time I get everything set up outside, it'll be too dark to see. So I'll finish this up first thing in the morning, then we'll go on to something else, which is going to be making the V-edge tongue and groove ceiling. But I'll be using different bits for the ceiling. I've got some real pretty clear yellow pine. Now this stuff here, since it is yellow pine, it's very likely that I'll gain some gaps right here. It's just the nature of yellow pine. This stuff is pretty dry, but I know that it's going to shrink just a little bit, and that's just going to add to the flavor or the character of a country style kitchen. Since this ceiling is on a slope, I have to cut both pieces that'll go up here to finish this out. I have to cut them on the same slope as the ceiling has. I measured up from the top side of this shoulder, not the tongue, but the top of the shoulder. I measured up to this joist right here, and I've got about 4.5 inches right there. Now, these pieces, they cover actually 5 3/16. So I just put my tape up here, and I measure not at the tongue, but at the exposed shoulder there. I just come out here and kind of hold my tape up there to where my 5 3/16 is, and I come a little bit more and just kind of visually look at the piece there, just see where I'm at. And it's about 14.5 inches. I wrote that down. I guess you can see it there with it zoomed in. And so I'll mark that and cut it on that angle. I'll measure up to 4.5 and over 14.5, and I'll lay my square up there and just make a mark across there. And I've got to remember to cut the tongue also, because it'll be sticking up there against the ceiling if I don't. Okay, I've got that angle cut, and I'll show you what I did. I cut that at a 35-degree bevel right there, and that will be serving exactly the same thing as when I was putting the boards up around the bottom board that came up to the receptacles and the light switch. It gives it a little bit of slack to where I can actually tip this in so that the tongue can set down in the groove. You have to have a little slack because you've got this area right here, the depth of the groove, to contend with. Right here is my 14.5, and I continued that cut all the way across the tongue so that I'll have the clearance that I need. That tipped right in there, real nice. I'll snug it up a little bit Then I'll have a long cut on this next one, and that'll finish this wall out. Give this just a little bit of snugging up. I'm going to have to pull that down just a little bit. Okay, this is the last piece, and I have to be very careful with that point down there because I don't want to break it. I've got to be pretty gentle with it. Get it started there. There it went. That's good. I'll pull that down just a little bit with this little bar where I can nail it. I better leave that alone. That has all of the boards on the walls. They're all done, and now I can focus on the ceiling. But the first thing I got to do is clean up the shop. Anybody want to help? Thanks for watching. God bless you.